Okay, here's an introduction to the HAL20 series. It is a wash, rinse, dry hospital line. Also sold by Steris under the CaviWave line. The Steris units are 120 kilohertz. The Crest Ultrasonics version is only 40 kilohertz. So that's the primary difference between the two versions. Now, the tank off to the left here is the wash tank. It is a fully automated drain, fill, liquid level switch. It is a ultrasonic timer. All of it is done pre-programmed. Really nothing for the operator to do other than press the start button. The fill port is located behind that baffle. The reason for that baffle is it directs the water flow in the downward direction, so there is no splashing when it is in the fill. There's the drain port, also has a automated valve on it. And then behind the wall here, you see that hole at the top with a slot along the bottom? Behind that wall is the liquid level switch. It's put behind there to protect it. There's nothing that can get to it, but you still get the water flow through there, so it is the same liquid level as the tank. For an operator, all the buttons on the front, you have the main power on off, fill, drain, lid, stop. These are all basically emergency overrides. You can start and close it, drain it, fill it, just with any of these buttons. However, the primary operator just kicks the cycle start button at the bottom like I'm about to do. Also, I have the ultrasonic timer set for 20 seconds. Very short cycle, just intended for operation of this video. So the operator would just simply place a tray of parts on the lift. Simply kick the cycle start. You hear the alarm as it goes down, just to warn the operator that the lift is closing. The ultrasonic energy kicks on. It continues to cycle. You can monitor the cycle timer. It will count down. When the cycle completes, you will see this lid basically operate in reverse. Lift will open, it'll beep. Now, there is an additional feature that pre-programmed in this is a cycle counter. Usually around every 10-12 cycles, it will automatically drain the tank and refill it. I have skipped that step for this video, primarily because of my facilities restraints. I don't have an adequate drain line attached to this, so I don't want to go through the filling and draining process. This side is the rinse and the dryer. On the front is the spray headers. I'm going to get a good shot of that spray header bar. That is spraying down the parts as it goes down, so the lift will lower just like the wash station, and that is where these sprays come from. Also, you can see both in the front and rear there are exhaust ducts. That is actually the return flow of the air, so the air is coming in through this port on the bottom. You can look down. Unfortunately, the lighting is not great. There are heating elements in there, and there's a blower underneath, which I will show you shortly. When you do a drying cycle, the unit will go through the spray it down, give it a time to sit to make sure all the water drained. There's that slight lip there, and make sure all the water is drained out of there. Then it kicks on a fill cycle, or the drying cycle, which then proceeds. And once that starts, it really does need to complete the drying cycle before the lid's open. So again, on this side, you basically just have the lid, the lube, and then the rinse time and the dry time. I have it set for a 6-minute dry, 30 seconds rinse. There is an idle time. I'm going to press the start button, talk over it. There is an idle time between the rinse timer ending and the dryer kicking on. That is roughly 15-20 seconds. The purpose for that is after this spray cycle times down, you want to make sure that all the water drains out of that system before the dryer kicks on. So, for purpose of editing the video, I am going to skip the remainder of this procedure. Just trust at the end of this, the lift will now pop up. Now, I am going to stop the cycle simply by hitting the stop button. Now, reason why I have the lid closed, I want to give you a tour underneath. However, there is a safety switch. Let's put the video down. This is the underside of the system. that safety switch actually ensures that that cover has to be on in order for this thing to operate. So with the cover off, I couldn't operate it, so sorry for that little editing glitch. This is the underside. That unit is the power generator for the ultrasonics. Again, 132 kilohertz because this is a Steris unit. Normally it would have some Crest Genesis 40 kilohertz models. Plumbing diagram, it is all CPVC plumbing. You do have this blower motor. That's the drying element. Exhaust stamper for the exhaust as well. It's basically a nice self-contained, very cleanly plumbed unit. Where you're seeing the drip from, that is actually a chemical feed. So it's actually feeding back a little bit. Normally that gets screwed into a bottle that is holding the chemicals that you're drawing from. So when you do turn on your system, it draws chemical as well as drawing in the soap solution. There's the water, fill, and the soap solution. You also have fill ports. So as this thing is running, you have a flow control. You can actually see the flow rate that you're rinsing at. So that's also another monitor that mainly used for diagnosis. If you are having trouble with the system, you can make sure that you got water flow, stuff of that nature. You got a redundant over temperature thermostat. Basically it's a hardwired thermostat. If there is a heater runaway, this thing's going to detect it first and make sure it's shut off, and it's basically a safety procedure. So that's the overview of the HAL-20.